Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Sam Stewart with the Present Tense. We've got a special interview for you this summer. Today, I'm talking with Icah Wilmot. He is a surfing pioneer in the country of Jamaica. Met him here on Topsail Island. I've lived here most of my life, and he's came the past 2 summers and surfed with us. It's been a lot of fun getting to know him. He's an amazing surfer, a great guy. And like I said, he's one of the pioneers of the sport in Jamaica. He's currently training to be in the Olympics, and he's just one of the best people you ever meet. So Icah, thank you for joining the program today.
Yeah, my pleasure.
So Icah, I want to start you with this question right off the bat. What makes you love the sport of surfing so much?
That's a pretty hard question, pretty deep question, but surfing is, for me, the connection with nature. Because unlike other sports where you want to play football, you take a ball, you go out on the field and you throw the ball. You want to play, tennis, you get a bracket, you go on a court, you play tennis. Surfing, it's all dependent on nature. You can't just go surf when you feel like. Like, the waves have to be good, the tide has to be right. There's so many other factors that nature, dictates that you can't control it. And every single wave is different. So when you get on a wave, it's a unique experience. And that wave, once it breaks and you ride to the shore, no one else is going to surf that wave ever again. So it's like that,
awesome.
that unique, kind of spiritual connection with the earth is what makes it so special to me. And when you're standing on a wave and surfing a wave, it's,
Do you ever feel like
feeling is unmatched?
when you're out there, it's like you're kind of like dwarfed by nature. You feel small.
Yeah,
looking at the ocean.
Yeah, for sure. Sometimes.
And just trying to tame something that's so wild in a way.
Yeah, especially in bigger waves. Like when the waves get bigger, you really get that feeling, a really humbling experience. You're out there and it's like, wow, these waves could easily do whatever they want with me, and it's like you're walking on thin ice, so to speak. But it's really humbling and just makes you appreciate nature and the power nature has even more. And to see how crazy it can get, makes you really humble.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think that's definitely something that I would agree with. It's definitely one of the awesome parts of the sport. And my next question for you is, how did you get into the sport of surfing? I did some research, and your dad is a legend. Some of your brothers are really good surfers.
Yeah.
So, I was reading an article, and it was talking about how you saw your dad surf for the first time when you were 6 or 7 years old, and that experience you had. And can you just tell us about how you got into the sport?
Well, my dad learned to surf in the 70s, early 70s, late 60s, early 70s. He grew up on the beach, the same beach we live at back home. And there used to be a couple guys who would come to that beach and surf because the waves were really mellow and easy, so they come longboard out there every now and again. And then one day, one of the guys was on the beach and he surfed and we were just hanging out on the beach, and my dad was like, hey, can I borrow your surfboard? And the guy just taught my dad how to surf right then. And then, so my dad always kind of got really good and had a couple boards in the yard and stuff. And then after a while, when we started getting older, we would just take the boards and go wreck them on the beach, And then he kind of gave us a board each and was like, this is your board, you got to take care. Taught us how to not wreck the boards and teach us how to pop up and surf. And I was probably, I don't know exactly because it was since we were really young, so probably about 5 or 6 maybe, I'm guessing, that he was really this is how you surf. And then from then we just took off and just really loved the sport for ever since. And doing it for 30 years now.
What is the best part about being able to share what you love with your family? Obviously your brother surf, your dad surfs. Talk about the connection you have with those people and being, having the same passion as them.
Yeah, it's cool because surfing, as we said, it's like a spiritual experience for me. So connecting with family on that level, it's really unique because that same feeling you get surfing a wave, it's like sharing that experience with people you love and people who love you. It makes it so much more meaningful. And and we all grew up doing it together. So from we were kids, where we were just playing around, messing around, body surfing and everything, it was just our favorite pastime. And as we grow older, everyone's takes different paths in life. A couple of my siblings are gone into film and production industry.
Okay, that's awesome.
My younger brother, he's kind of doing the surf thing like I was doing. And then my other brother, everyone's kind of doing different paths. But then on a weekend, we all come and we all surf together. So it's our family reunion kind of thing. And it's what we do as a family, you know, and all the kids and all the grandkids are now surfing, and everyone's just loving it, and you know, it's a good way to spend that time with family, and because it's a sport that everyone loves it, like everyone's having a good time doing it. So my father, who's now the grandfather, he's pushing his grandkids into their first waves, and like sharing that experience, the same experience he had with us when we were just starting out, like to create that bond and that love for the sport and just in the family.
That's awesome. And you know, you're talking about your dad teaching you. Obviously, you're here working for Wrightsville Beach Surf Camp, and you know, you're talking about teaching even, you know, younger members of your family. So what made you want to teach surfing, as people had once taught it to you? What made you want to continue on that legacy of teaching?
Yeah, well, I mean, for me, I like sharing the joy of the sport. Like that feeling you get when you get it. Like you mess around and you fumble and you fall, and then when you get up on your first wave and that rush you get, that's so addictive that I know what it's like. And every time I catch a wave, and even if I'm just cruising, like the joy of surfing is so amazing to me that it's an honor for me to give that experience to other people. You know, it's like, and also use surfing as also a means to, you know, self-development and like reflection. And because when you're out there in the water, you're sitting there, you're on the ocean, you're by yourself, you have that time to like clear your mind, like forget about all the problems and stuff that you're facing on land, and just like be in the moment, be there right now, and just like, I'm just here, and just clear mind and just enjoying the moment. And that really like helps a lot of people as well. So like giving that experience to a lot of people is really cool. And then coming here, I met Rick, who owns the surf school, like many years ago, and you know, one day he was like, "Hey, you want to come hang out?" So I just basically I come here and I hang out with the kids.
That's awesome.
Like, I come here to just hang out, and there's a couple of kids that I kind of built a good relationship with over the years, and every time we come back, it's like, yeah, almost like family again, you know. So it's like
that's super cool.
That, you know, it's not anything stressful. It's just like come here and just hang out with the kids and just let them have a good time.
That's super
what
cool.
Surfing's all about, just enjoying yourself and expressing yourself in the ocean.
That's awesome. And you know, one thing I researched was that your dad actually owns a surf school in Jamaica, runs a surf school, and you know, for you and your dad being able to be two of the pioneers of this sport in Jamaica, what does that mean? To be a person who is not only, you know, representing the country in possibly the Olympics, you know, all these competitions that you've competed in, all these competitions that you've won, being able to, you know, pioneer for the next generation of Jamaican kids who are wanting to surf, what has that been like for you?
It's been really fulfilling. We've had ups and downs, because you're gonna have kids who come in and like fall through the cracks, and you know, always the sad stories of kids who kind of didn't really take the right path in life. But then the ones who do take the right path, that's so fulfilling, and such a blessing to know that you've helped shape this person's future in a positive way, you know. And my dad doesn't really do much teaching. He kind of taught us, and then now we're the ones, me and my brother, the ones like doing the whole surf school back home. So we run it, and he's kind of like the godfather, just kind of like there, just like throwing out bits of knowledge and stuff out there every now and again. And yeah, so it's going good. And for us, it's not necessarily the work we do back home. We're not thinking of it as we want to, you know, have a surf school because we, you know, want anything. Our aim is to develop the sport and the country. Like that's my family's aim in surfing in Jamaica: develop the sport in the country and make the sport more acceptable and create opportunities for kids who never had opportunities. Kids who live on a beach way out of town in the countryside where there's nothing, they don't really have the finances in their family to go to college but they live right on the beach, and there's a perfect wave behind their house. They can learn to surf, and maybe that will open up a career for them through surfing, maybe photography, maybe teaching surfing, maybe fixing up a little room and have a little bed and breakfast thing at a surf beach. Like all those possibilities are there to be, you know, taken. And these kids and these people that live in these areas that have not had that chance, like surfing is opening that up for them, and you know, so that's kind of like what we're looking at, to like develop the sport and create these opportunities for everyone in the country, and that's kind of the driving force behind it for us, not for our personal gain, just for the growth and promotion of surfing and how the general country benefits from it.
Wow, that's awesome. That's a great thing you guys are doing. And Icah, what is the biggest piece of advice you could give to young surfers like myself, or anyone you teach here at Wrightsville Beach or in Jamaica? What is the biggest piece of advice to someone who's kind of new to surfing? Maybe they're a little bit more advanced, but they're relatively new to the sport. What is the biggest piece of advice you could give them?
The biggest piece of advice I'd say is to don't take things too seriously. Surfing, you started surfing because you thought it was fun.
Mm-hmm.
When you get out there, you're gonna mess around, you're gonna fumble, you're gonna fall. It's gonna take a lot of time, unless you do like lessons that are like controlled and someone's getting you on the perfect wave and everything. You're gonna have a lot of times where you're gonna be falling and gonna get smashed by the waves. But then, you know, don't put yourself in conditions where it's too difficult for you. Stay small. Use a big board and stay on tiny waves, and just make sure you're having as much fun as you can possibly have. And the more fun and relaxed you are on the waves, the quicker you learn. Mm-hmm. You know, so like try not to overthink and overstress on it. Just have fun, and you know, as we always say, I guess this is my quote: the best surfer is the guy who's having the most fun.
Best surfer is the guy who's having the most fun. That's the quote of the day. That's a great one.
So if you're out there having a blast, even if you're just riding a wave on your stomach, once you're out there having the best fun, it's what surfing is for everybody, you know? Everyone's out there trying to get that rush, trying to have that
awesome
experience where it's like, wow, I'm having so much fun, and that's why we surf. So.
That's great. And just a couple more questions for you, Icah. You know, you've traveled a lot of places, you've surfed a lot of cool spots. I actually read one really crazy story about you online where your foot got caught in a piece of coral and your brother had to come save you, and then you said you went back out there to go keep surfing. But what is the best spot you've surfed? And I know you could take this probably a lot of ways with how the nature looks or the actual waves, but what's the most fun you've had at any particular spot? Is there a particular favorite spot you have? I know that's really tough because you surfed in so many different places around the world, around America as well.
There's this one session in Tahiti that really stands out. I'm not sure if I'm calling the name of the spot right, but it's this right-hand reef that's on like I'm not sure. I think the northern side of Tahiti, I think. I'm not sure. But I think it was called like Venus Point or something. I'm not sure if the name's right. But it's this reef that, like a big beach, and it has a reef on the outside and a right that just peels perfectly around this reef. And that was probably one of my sweetest sessions because Tahiti is so beautiful, like it's so lush, and the mountains are like super pointed. It's like rainforest and waterfalls, and the water is crystal clear, and the reef is beautiful, and there's fish and everything everywhere. And I was out there with a couple of friends, and we were surfing and getting barreled out of our minds.
That's crazy.
You know?
That's awesome.
Funny enough, I actually got washed over the reef and broke my board and got cut off really bad. But that was at the last.
Okay, that was
last
that same.
wave.
That was that same. Okay.
No, it was a
different time.
time.
Okay.
But that was on my last wave of the trip. I got the barrel of my life, and I came out in the wave. I pulled out, and this big huge set just washed me over the reef.
Wow.
And
That's crazy.
Broke my board, but it was the last day. We left the next morning, so it wasn't so bad.
Okay.
It was a good experience.
I gotcha.
You know, after the best wave ever, and I get the worst pounding ever, and I was okay. So that was cool, you know. And but yeah, that spot, those waves were amazing, and the people there were really cool. Like just so friendly and so caring and loving and willing to just like open up and share their spots with us, and you know, it's really cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really cool. And I got two more questions for you. And my next question for you is, if you had to say what one trait of a great surfer is, what trait would you say that person encompasses? What trait do you need to have to be a great surfer?
To be a great surfer, well, then it depends on what your definition of great surfer is.
That's true.
So, like for me, someone who is a great surfer is a great role model. And not just by surfing really well, but by being a great person, being a good person in themselves. So just having, you know, good relationship skills, like being able to interact well with people and teach people and be very polite when you're in the water and that kind of stuff. That's, for me, you know, makes a really good surfer. Like someone who goes out and, you know, paddle out to a new lineup, you make friends, you talk to people, you know, like that kind of way. It makes everyone's session so much better by you just having a positive attitude in the water and just being kind and nice to everybody. And you know, that's for me. That's what a great surfer is. Someone who's out there and just stoked and sharing that stoke.
And I think it makes it more fun too, because like when you're surfing by yourself, it is fun. But when you're doing it with other people, your friends, it just adds a whole other level.
And even
to
if
it.
It's not friends, like you paddle out to a new lineup, but just like talking to the people, and then when you get a really good wave, they'll be hooting for you and make you feel that much better because you know you get validated that that was a sick wave. Like that was sick, you know. And you know, so it's for me that's it is. It's like the person out there, like, you know, building that bond and that, you know, sharing that stoke within the lineup.
One of my favorite quotes that someone actually said on the show a couple of weeks ago was, "Happiness is found in the presence of others."
Yeah,
and I think when you share happiness with other people, I think that's when you can find some of the best times. I think you know, surfing with you guys, it's always fun being out there, and obviously with the kids and stuff too. Everyone's just having a good time. I think that's the cool part of surfing, just to be able to share that. And Icah, my last question for you is, what is one trait that you think it takes to be successful in life? Now, success in life can mean a lot of different things, but someone who's an upstanding person in life, what trait do they embody?
Oh, that's a hard one.
Save the hard one for last.
Yeah. For me, selflessness.
Selflessness. Okay.
As in, a lot of people look at me and say, "Oh, I'm such a great person, and I'm really this and I'm really that." But for me, like, I don't look at myself and the stuff I do as like amazing. Like, I do what I do. I teach people. I compete. I surf and compete because I like competing. I surf a lot because I like surfing. And then I teach kids and I teach people to surf, and I put out all this effort to make people get this opportunity, better opportunities in life, because I think that, you know, it's good to do that. Like, I'm not doing things with a personal goal in mind, like, oh, I want to save $1 million by the time I'm this, or I want to do. It's like I go out and I do things. Like, I come here to help kids have fun for the summer. You know, I volunteer. I travel around, and wherever I am, if someone's like, if I'm in the water surfing and I see someone struggling, I paddle over, like, hey, you know, I help them out, and just being that person to just like help someone's life a little better in any way you can, you know. Even if I'm like walking down the street and someone looks to be having a bad time, say, hey man, how are you doing? You all right? Just like exchange a few words. That could be the one thing that saves that person from, you know, a pretty bad day. Sometimes people might be going through some crazy stuff and you don't know, and just your little bit of kindness is what makes their world brighter, you know. So that is what I say it's like for me, because I've been around people who've been going through really bad stuff, and just like, you know, just, hey, let's go for a surf, or let's go chill, and let's go play some music, let's go do something. That's like just being kind and open, and just like sharing that love with everybody you meet. And that's, for me, that what makes someone really successful in life. Because for me, life is about living, not about money.
Yeah.
You know, so a successful life is a life filled with wonderful, rich opportunities and experiences. And money can buy a lot of stuff, but money can't buy those feelings and those experiences and those emotions. So yeah, I guess that would be my thing.
That's a great answer, and that's a great note to end on. Icah, thank you so much for joining me today, and I look forward to surfing with you for the rest of the summer. And I think everyone can take something away from this interview, and not only about surfing but about life as well. So I just want to thank you for coming on, and good luck with everything in the future.
Cool. Man,